AGAL and some upgraded shoes to boot. Oh, that was not the pun that I was looking for. Take it away, Will. I think I need to time it.
Like you said, one more kill. As I was mentioning before, who knows when that's going to happen, though, as we won't have a fight really here for a while. 3 minutes until this dragon will spawn.
In as once again, I believe I spied a rumble in the jungle. There's a few people backstage that are going to be saying that it's not the greatest skin of all time, but they do not have a microphone now. And I can tell everyone, though, that line of pineapples, it's just glorious.
It's a good one. You know, I think that whoever doesn't have the mic currently is incorrect. So I would agree with you there, Atlas, as
Thanks, Brendan.
We're spamming some...
I'm not looking angrily at him or anything like that. There were no threats that were mouthed or anything. Just take my word for it.
Did you see the shout-outs there from Ruler? He's got the old Samsung Galaxy flare and also the JDG thrown up there. Just showing that Ruler has been everywhere. He's gone over to China. He's won in the LPL, and now he's back with Genji in Korea.
Hope was his predecessor on JDG back in that 2022 roster. I was super high on Hope that year, and I thought JDG were going to make that run. It was DRX ultimately who won it in the end, but Hope now plays against the one who replaced him. So very interesting to see all of this. Again, not a surprise to anyone probably that we see double unsealed spellbook across our supports. Ruler going for the Comet, will be going for that lethality variant, which I think is, again, it's extremely common and makes a lot of sense here, but it does mean that consistent damage is not something Genji necessarily have in a longer team fight, especially consider that Azir damage and some of the Rumble damage that can come through as well.
You know what I really like about Chovy here on Yone in Game 1 is I feel like this is his stomp champ, you know? It's like he picks it when he wants to send a message. Like, he has done it to so many mid laners in the LCK and internationally on this champion. Obviously, it's very strong nowadays, so that's another good reason, but I feel like in terms of that, you know, trying to get into their heads, if you have a really good game on Yone and your Chovy right from Game 1, I think you're going to be sending a great message.
Well, let's see how it is going to go. Already playing pretty aggressively in the lane as Shanks holding on to things. Will get knocked up here momentarily. It is just get as many minions as you possibly can and try not to trade your entire health bar for it, as Keen is going to be able to find a cute little Q here. So far, feels like the lanes are relatively neutral outside of bottom side where the push seems to belong to anyone's legend. It's good to see things starting off real close.
Chovy looking aggressively here, just going to hang out on the edge of that turret shot. Those are the kind of plays you have to make, like you were talking about, Atlas, where you get the minions you can, you get the trades you can. Otherwise, a tough matchup to play is Duro.
Duro going to spot that he went home. Does mean that Kyle does have to walk as far away from this lane as possible. Not really going to get fully punished or anything like that.
I mean,
just a little bit of a delayed back.
Yeah, desynced backs really matter, though, when you're trying to go for a lane swap like this. And it is going to hurt the pacing here.
True. Maybe now it's just going to be a Jhin top situation. Jhin against Kasante is going to be the answer. As Tarzan moving towards the mid lane, just going to try and help sort this lane out, give Shanks a decent back angle.
It's like Flandre will get his back off without a problem here, and there's no crash, so disaster averted here for AL for the time being.
Yeah, absolutely. Just waiting for this very early swap. We used to see this all the time. At 3 minutes, 30 seconds, you just want to make sure you have better matchups in your lanes. I forget who it was we were talking to on the desk, but they were just saying, like, you really want to go for the swap immediately when you feel like your top laner is going to have a better time into the the duo. I think it was Busio, yeah, who was talking about that. So in terms of specifically going for lane swap timings, definitely want to get that Jhin away from the Varus, who can be an annoying lane bully, but also feeling like Keen won't have as good of a time in the 1v2 as Flandre will.
Flandre losing a little bit of farm here. You could see that's starting to add up in the top CS difference, even though they're not laning against each other. But did not have to use his teleport to get to the lane, so is still holding on to that one. Keen, obviously, same story up here on the top side. Has not completed his first back just yet.
Kind of awkward. The Keen is sort of just there on an island trying to get as much experience as he can. He's well and truly zoned away from actually killing any minions, but I think is in experience range. Trying to do the same thing on the other side of the map is Gen G to Flandre. So it's going to be some pretty low econ top laners, I think.
Which does favor the Cassante, you have to think. I mean, Cassante does a lot with the little. Rumble's going to need those items a lot more. And Keen is happy to just not even take it back here and sit in this lane. He is soaking a lot of that experience, even though it's lower eco than otherwise. He's about half a level up on Flandre. Shanks.
Yeah, Shanks level 5. Actually taking so much damage here. That's the flash out. One more auto before the snapback would have been death. And Chovy not even going to invest the flash. Shanks gonna have to go home and has a long walk back.
I mean, you could see that both the junglers and the supports are kind of hanging around that mid lane because Chovy's creating so much action. And again, he's setting the tempo. He is setting the pace of this game, and he's saying, I'm going to control it on this Yone. He's like, yeah, melee into range, doesn't matter. I'm playing Yone, it's OP. I'm going to win the trades. I'm going to have my team there to support me so I can continue to put on that pressure and essentially just do whatever I want is what Chovy is saying.
Yeah.
So we're having a swap back here. It looks like Keen's going to TP bot.
Looks like they're going to maintain that lane into the Keen Sante here. The teleports will be traded. In fact, actually, Flandre, I was looking at this thinking he was going to just TP back in, but the wave state on the top side means he doesn't have to, so he's actually going to maintain teleport advantage over Keen, who had to go down there and catch that wave as it was being pushed in very quickly there. So he barely gets the back off top side there with that wave and goes straight to the bottom lane. Hope and Kyle will go down and match him. But yeah, like you guys have been talking about, this Chovy lane pressure that's been generated is exactly what you want to see. Gives you hope that this Yone is going to hit the mark in these upcoming team fights. Speaking of, we're a ways away from one right now with no dragon control really to either team, and the Grub Zone spawning for another minute 30 as Keen level 6.
Yeah, he just takes a beating, and he's just kind of okay, I guess. The Malmesh mental, sorry, the Negatron cloak helping more than I think it had any right to. At that point in time, is still retaining a decent CS advantage as well, as we've seen that combo before. This time he's going to be able to eliminate it, as that's an all-out. This is 1v2 Keen. What are we doing? This guy's absolutely insane, but he's getting away with it. Absolutely. Will be able to dash away. Deadly Flourish is going to slow him down, but I don't know whether you'd want to stop him from leaving, Hope. It was looking dicey.
Yeah, I just feel like that's why I was talking about earlier, the reasons why you would swap. I feel like it's actually a better situation for Gen G because Flandre's having a lot of trouble into the Rakan and the Varus with unlimited sustain and the insane damage from the Varus, but the Jhin and the Alistar don't do anything to Cassante.
They can't stop him, and we've seen Cassante be one of the best lane swap absorb champions, even before lane swaps were massively nerfed, but we'd see them at level 1. This was Keen's life for like a year, right? And he's winning it this time. He's got so much practice with this. And the Lethality Varus with the Dirk in hand here is just going to smash Flandre there on the top side. The sustain you mentioned from those Rakan Qs is going to come through, and so they get to steal some of the jungle away, set up some of those deep wards there on the top side of the map. But Gen G, control of both sides of the map right now feels fantastic as Grubs have spawned.
Yeah, Canyon looking to try and contest this. Full vision available to AL. Canyon walking on forward. Should be able to watch this first one go down. We'll see whether that's all AL can get, although they are still in this pit. 4 versus 3 for the moment, but Ruler is moving over there. Flandre, level 7, does have Equalizer at the ready. This is a dangerous fight for Gen G to take. As Ruler throws out the ulti, it's going to be met with Tarzan's flash. And Hope really speedran the curtains there. They were closed, and then they were opened, and then they were closed again pretty immediately.
Yeah, not the greatest fight set there for AL. It's really desperate, but I think after Tarzan flashes, you know you're going to have to give at least 2/3 here of the Grubs, and taking a fight follow-up after that is just not going to be possible.
You were talking about this in the draft, Wolf, just giving over Varus essentially in trade for a Xayah ban. And you're like, okay, we want to ban Xayah, we'll give you Varus. But Ruler, with his Varus, it feels like he's run the lane, and obviously Chovy's done a really good job in mid as well. So now they can just kind of roam the map as a four-man unit and take whatever objective they want. Like, Hope playing this Jhin right now has zero impact compared to the Varus in these team fights. And yeah, he was just being bullied essentially by Chovy and Duro, who weren't allowing him to do anything. So Gen G get 2 grubs and they get the first Drake. So off to a great start there.
Yeah, it's just the objective control that is so necessary for this Gen G comp, but they are very strongly holding tightly onto in this early game. Just through lane pressure alone, as Duro is on this controller here lurking. I don't think he'll find any opportunities, but does hit level 6. Here, can just get some deep vision on Tarzan's pathing, and that's going to be the end of that. But just gonna wrap his way all the way around.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit weird.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little. I'm like, what's his plan?
He just wants to get as much information as possible. They do kill his ward immediately, though, as the lane assignments are kind of interesting. Chovy now laning up against Flandre towards that top side, as Equalizer was actually invested just a little while ago. Not entirely sure. I think it was probably just to eliminate a minion wave, as Duro is following Tarzan here towards the top lane. Chovy says hello to his former jungler from Griffin and does do a whole lot of damage. Snaps back to that soul. Flandre was just unable to really help out, so it's just a sacrifice of 50% of Tarzan's health bar. Thankfully has the King's Tribute to get that health back.
The Keen has into this away from his ultimate, so there's some hesitation here. Do we pull off completely, or can we turn on this? Because the Maokai ultimate is the best way for them to buy space. They still have Chains of Corruption, but it's not the same setup they had on Dragon here. Kyle doesn't hesitate, though. He goes in, then you see the Duro peel, you see the Chains of Corruption. Equalizer here would have been great if there was follow-up, and unfortunately for Hope, he's just trying to get damage done here at the end. Keen does get on top of him here. Luckily, though, for him, he does survive. He and Flandre will be able to keep the Barons here, so it's not that they got nothing out of this, as he barely survives. Look at that, down to like single-digit health. And AL are just going to try to make the best out of this Baron now. It's their one way back into this game.
Oh, Chains of Corruption going to connect this time around as 50% of Shanks' health just goes in the blink of an eye. Flandre almost loses 100, though, as meanwhile, on the back end of the fight, it's Hope that's just being thrown around like a rag doll. Kyle going to get the same treatment. And AL, I mean, it was a decent attempt. They managed to seal away the Baron, and this is not the result. This is not what we wanted to see.
I think this may be the beginning of the end of this one, Atlas. Gen G winning the fight here, punishing the siege. AL had one chance, one Baron to work with. They wanted to make the most of it, but now they are dead.
Yeah, flash forward there from Chovy is going to seal Flandre's fate. And this Rumble performance a little bit different to that of what we saw at MSI. This time Gen G able to deal with it, and they're looking to push through and take game number 1. Shanks going down low as there is the attempt to knock off from Duro. It is going to get the Zhonya's out of Shanks, but Keen is just having the time of his life, manages to take down the Azir, and Chains of Corruption flying around, and they can go to Narnia. They don't need that to do the damage, as Kyle fresh out of the death chamber, but he's going to be going back. He left something there, I think. Needed to go pick up his keys. It's now Tarzan going to fall as well. Nexus turrets on the ground, and Gen G will win game number 1 here at the EWC Grand Final for League of Legends.
Absolute masterclass here in this first game. Just great stuff. Gen G is back in form here and declaring it in game number 1. AGL, some nice moments where they were nearly able to come back. Nice Baron steal, but that over push in mid, and they just get caught by the Chains of Corruption by Ruler, who was having a fantastic game the entire time, and they just fell like a house of cards.
The big story for me, Valdez, is the amount of vision control Gen G had in this game. They took lane prio, they were able to get control, and they just had wards on both sides of the map non-stop, never giving any vision, never giving any angles to AL.
An absolutely amazing performance here from Gen G, but it is a best of 5. There's still so much League of Legends to come. Time for us to take a short